Davenport.
transcribed and summarized.
LaRue.
Yes.
Sutherland.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Natola.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
All right.
So we have some eager folks to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll let you guys folks rise prior to me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The town of Burlington will be holding the June 4th, 2026 meeting as a hybrid meeting. The governor issued an executive order on March 12th, 2020, authorizing remote meetings under General Law Code 30A, Section 20, and extended Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, including permitting remote meetings and participation until June 30th, 2027.
As always, members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting, but note that while an option for remote attendance is being provided, the hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast. If you're looking to attend remotely, you can do so via the following. The URL is townofburlington.webex.com. Our meeting number is 2347-202-2165. You can call us and join the WebEx on your phone at 617-315-0704. If there are members looking to participate on WebEx online, please raise your hand in the WebEx and staff will send you a request to unmute yourself at the appropriate time. We are being broadcast on BCAT. You can find it on Comcast 6, Astound 15, and Verizon 41. And this meeting will be uploaded to the BCAT government YouTube page within 72 hours of broadcast.
Thank you. Moving forward to public participation time, is there anyone in the audience or online who is here to speak on an item that is not currently on our agenda? You'll be given 2 minutes to speak. Seeing no one. Moving on to announcements, please.
Yep. Townwide Shred Day will be Saturday, June 6th from 9 a.m. to noon. That will be in the Town Hall parking lot. Please be advised that this is for Burlington residents only and an ID is required. The library will be having a board game day, and that will also be Saturday, June 6th, and that will be from noon to 5 o'clock. That's at the library. This is open for all ages, and there will be a mixture of tournaments and open play. The Public Arts Committee will be hosting a fundraiser June 7th from 5 to 8 p.m. at Goodnight Johnny's. There will be a Narcan training and information session with the Burlington Board of Health on Wednesday, June 10th from 6 to 7 p.m. at 61 Center Street in the second floor in room 207. To register, please call the Board of Health at 781-270-1955 or email boh@burlington.org. Leo's Pride Celebration will be Saturday, June 13th with a rain date of June 14th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and that will be on the Town Common. There will be a community mural project beginning on Saturday, June 20th. Is there any further information on that, Vice Chair LaRue?
Yes, the Public Arts Committee is doing something very exciting this summer. We are creating a mural on the back of 61 Center Street that will be painted by you, all of you, the audience, and hopefully all of you sitting up here. It will happen every Saturday, starting on June 20th, with the exception of July 4th, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. You can sign up for a slot online and come down and paint your square, your 12-inch square, and they will all fit together like a giant paint by number. And it's going to be gorgeous, and I hope to see you all there.
I'm sorry, what date was that?
It starts June 20th, and it's every Saturday until it's done, except for on July 4th.
And so how do we sign up?
It is online at burlingtonsculpturepark.org or burlingtonpublicartscommittee.org.
Great.
The Burlington Government Review Community Input Session will be Wednesday, June 17th at 7 p.m. in the Murray Kelly Room of the Human Services Building at 61 Center Street. We do have 2 members of our board who serve on the Government Review Committee. Is there anything else that either Member Sutherland or Member Kelly would like to add to that?
Be there and tell us what you think.
Yes, and I also would just like to thank, sorry, my voice is going, so hopefully you can hear me, but I also would like to just thank everybody who participated in the survey that we sent out. Our goal was to have 1,000 responses, and we received more than that, which was really great to see. We're also constantly updating our website. If you go to burlington.org, under your government, you can find the Government Review Committee. link under boards and commissions. And on the homepage, you can, for example, see a link to the draft charter. We've updated FAQs. There's information, again, as Caleb just noted, about the input session. But please absolutely check out the website, and please come to the input session.
Great, thank you, Member Sutherland. And then one last announcement. Our Economic Development Director is here, and I know she's been working on a World Cup watch parties, and I would just want her to speak quickly on that, give everyone the update on where they can find information.
Thank you. Thank you, Planning Board. My name is Melissa Tintalkos. I work as the Economic Development Director. We are hosting an initiative called Watch the World, Burlington's Watch the World initiative, and it's in partnership with the Mass Office of Travel and Tourism. Our team here on town has done a great job pulling this together. Shout out to Laura and Kelly, John Patrick, to put some of the effort together behind the website alone. But on top of that, it's been a great opportunity. The World Cup kicks off on June 11th with Mexico versus South Africa, and we have 2 signature watch parties. We are doing this in strategic partnership with some local restaurants that already have great sports kind of fan base, Tony C's and Common Craft. And you can find all the information here on this website. It's been a great opportunity to engage local businesses, but also I would say some of our community organizations. We are in collaboration with the library in case you want to learn more about the history of the World Cup. There's a few activities and programs at the library. In addition, if you're just a kid learning, and wanting to learn how to kick the ball and kind of show off your moves, we have a clinic with the high school soccer coaches and Burlington Youth Soccer. And some of the local restaurants, Victoria, the Brazilian Meat Market is hosting an event. So it's just gathering, and life is better when people come together, and the World Cup is a great opportunity to make that happen. So check it out, and we'll see your neighbors and your colleagues there, I hope. Thanks.
Thank you, Melissa. Just one quick question. If somebody wants to participate in the soccer tutorial, is there some place for them to sign up, or they just show up?
Yeah, the link should be here, and we have 2 opportunities. So there is a kind of tailgate pregame at 3rd Ave, who's another partner with us, on the 12th, right there.
Yeah, this one?
Yes. And then that one is just show up. And then the one with the Burlington High School coaches, that one does require registration.
Okay, and so is there a limit, or to how many people can?
I'd have to check with the Burlington coaches.
Okay, if staff,
Yeah, we
if you
can find out.
connect with Melissa and just make
absolutely.
sure we put that on the residence page, we put that
Cool.
on planning, we put it on economic development, just to make sure that everybody can be involved where they want to be. Thanks so
Awesome.
much, Melissa.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion to take items 7A and 7B out of order.
We have a second?
Second.
Rappaport.
Yes.
LaRue.
Yes.
Sutherland.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Natola.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
So, item 7A is a public hearing, application for approval of a special permit pursuant to section 4.3.2.21, storage and disposal of oils and fuels, petroleum products of the zoning bylaws, 29 Center Street, Town of Burlington is the applicant. Item B is a discussion, application for approval of a minor engineering change, 29 Center Street, Town of Burlington is the applicant. Caleb, do you have this so you can send to Jess?
What'd you say?
Do you have whatever he's passing out to
Yes, I
send to
can.
Jess?
Yep.
Thank you.
Hold on, let me pass them. I can send it to you. Is it on the web? Okay, I can send.
Is it on the website? I can just get on the website.
No, it's not on the website yet, Jess.
Oh, these are the complete sets.
Thank you, though.
Thank you.
Way down.
Jess, let me know when you receive it so we can proceed, please.
These are packets.
Okay, thank you.
What is that document called?
Existing conditions dated April 8th, 2026.
Is that in there? I don't know.
I don't know.
Is that in the presentation? Is everything you're handing out in the presentation?
It should all be in the presentation.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the visual.
Okay, that's fine, then you guys can just proceed.
Can you just send
I will.
us the presentation directly? That way she can blow it up and see what she needs to see, please.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, Board. So my name is Brian White, DPW Director for the town. I'm here with Daniel Shoemaker and Ed Wellington from CES, our mechanical engineering consultant. Thank you for taking us out of order, and apologies to Melissa. I'll try to make it quick and concise. I'll give a kind of a background of why we're here, and then I'll hand it over to our engineering consultants to walk through the details, specifics of the project. So essentially, we are at the end of the lifespan of both the Town Hall and Town Hall Annex chiller and backup generator. The generator is a generator from the mid-'90s, so it's beyond its useful life. We've had a number of repair issues with it, and finding it tough to get parts. So we have that project is. That part of that piece of equipment is half of the big driver of this project. The other one is the chiller. That is a 28-year-old chiller. Industry standard is you get no more than 30 years out of it. That handles the AC for both the Town Hall and Town Hall Annex. So if that goes, we're going to be in some trouble. So it turned into what we hoped, like many projects that are kind of rehab, is a replacement of in place of the existing equipment. Easy, simple, cheap. Obviously, what was made for equipment and building code 30 years ago is different than it is now. So as we started getting into the design of just replacing the units where they are currently, we ran into code issues with clearance with the generator to the building, as well as the exhaust pipe. And the equipment, particularly the generator, is larger enclosures over the years due to help sound attenuation. So when we started looking at it, and to try to also make the most visually appeasing design, we realized we have to kind of flip-flop some of the equipment. The generator is up against the building currently. If it were to remain there, we would have to bring an exhaust standpipe all the way past the roof line. If we flip-flop it with the existing chiller unit, this is in the brick enclosure right out by the side door. If we flip-flop it, we're far enough away from the building where we don't need an extended exhaust pipe, and we can kind of keep all the equipment hidden. So that kind of, knowing the equipment and code sizes changed, we realize now we either have to increase the size of the enclosure or try to relocate one or more of the equipment to somewhere else to minimize or keep the same enclosure space or to shrink it. So we did try to look at moving the generator. There's really, the only viable option we could come up with is out back in the rear of the rear of the parking lot out here. However, there were some impacts with doing that. We would lose several parking spaces, but the main driver with that is the increased sound to the neighboring residents. We had a sound test done with the existing generator to measure, that should be one of the sheets, to measure the sound levels out back. Where it would make sense to relocate it if we were to move it back there. Would currently, the current sound levels at that location are about 50 decibels. If we were to move the proposed generator back there, the new generator at that spot would be about 75 decibels, so it's roughly a 20 to 25 decibel increase, which is actually 4 times as loud, and for comparison, the difference from 50 to 70, 75 is roughly moderate rain to a vacuum cleaner. So it's a pretty significant increase in sound. Because of that, we resorted back to, we think, the most logical place that impacts residents the least is to keep it where it is and increase the size of the enclosure. The enclosure itself, we can get into more specifics, but increasing the enclosure that's out there, obviously there's a walkway that's right up against it. There's not much room to move it closer towards Center Street because of code restrictions with where electric panels are and whatnot. If we go to the other direction, it's right up against the sidewalk back here, so we would be taking away sidewalk or encroaching into the parking lot. And so really the only direction to enlarge it is further out closer to Dearborn. And that would impact the walkway that leads from the chair ramp at the parking lot to the side door. So we looked at a couple different options. One option would, for accessibility, that would be more ideal, would be to try to keep the shortest path, relocate the sidewalk, try to keep it where it is currently, and wrap it around. If we were to do that, we would likely have to remove the large maple that's out there. So because of that and how nice and established it is, we thought it was a better idea to try to relocate the walkway so that it was a kind of a straight shot out the side door out to Dearborn. And that is what the basis of this design and proposal is, and I'll hand it over to Dan, and he can walk you through the specifics of the proposal.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Shoemaker. I'm the CES. This is Ed, and we're joined by Ty Spencer, who is the architect.
Could you put the microphone directly in front of you, please?
Yes. That good?
Start from the top, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dan Shoemaker. I'm with CES. As Brian said, we were the mechanical engineers on this project. We're joined virtually by Ty Spencer, who is with GRLA, our architect, and then Rory, who is with our landscape designer, Crowley and Cortel. So Brian covered most of the background on it, but we did go through multiple options for where to locate the new chiller and generator. We ran the sound tests that we discussed, and based on that and the footprint of the equipment, we determined that the best spot was to extend the existing enclosure and try to match the existing layout as much as possible. So the dimensions of the enclosure are driven by the clearances from the mechanical equipment. That those are fairly fixed, and moving the generator away from the building is a code concern, and it has the added benefit of not being in someone's window when it's operating.
Summarize it. We should probably introduce our landscape folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, who do you want unmuted?
Rory, please.
Rory? Rory.
Okay, hi, I'm Rory. I'm with the landscape architects on this project. If you want to go back so we can look at the 2 plans we have, can just walk you through sort of how we ended up at this design. So the most important things we wanted to preserve with this plan, so we have the existing conditions on the left and the new layout on the right. So as was stated, having the straight path, still an accessible path, access from the parking lot, and then straight run to the side door entrance seemed the most logical, and that allows us to preserve that existing red maple tree, which, as he said, is a very established and great tree. And That also gives us some space to add some additional planting to screen the large enclosure around the utilities. That planting also will help guide people to, instead of walking across the lawn, to walk along the sidewalk and then up straight to the side entrance. So it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. As far as the planting, we are just seeking to match what is existing. So this all will blend into the existing landscape as seamlessly as possible. And then just taking out some of the larger overgrown shrubs that are down at the corner of the sidewalk. That's sort of just a best practice thing to keep visibility at those intersections. And that's pretty much it as far as the landscape is concerned. We're just repurposing the lampposts that were along the old path and moving them to now be in line with the new path, which you can see in this rendering right here. So I think that's about all I have as far as landscape goes.
Great, thank you.
And then just one small thing to add, part of the reason why we are removing the bushes on page south of the plan is because those are invasive, they're burning bush, or you can correct me, they're considered invasive, so that's why we are,
Yep.
even though they're not directly impacted, it's just best practice.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Thank you. Liz, Caleb.
So it's, again, a pretty straightforward plan. One thing that the board should be aware of is that this is in the town center overlay. And so there is a design component to this, and we've been working with Brian and his team for a few months now, and it's been really great collaboration. And I think that they've come up with some really great materials, and the choices are just like are really good. So if you guys want to talk about the materials and kind of what you are planning on using.
Can I just stop for a second? So what's the final rendering going to look like aesthetically from, if I'm standing as a person not looking at, one of these maps, which one am I looking at? Is it this?
No,
That's existing.
I will share it on screen.
It is.
It's going to be the view.
It's the third page in your packet.
Okay, so it'll be flush, like brick colored, as, comparable to the building. Okay, thank you.
Yep, so we worked, so two other design considerations we took into play is, for a while, without digging into the plans and existing site conditions, it was always kind of, I wondered why there was a steel fence, steel wall for the rear portion of the enclosure. And so our initial intent was obviously to try to, make the whole enclosure brick and to match the building as best as possible. What we found as we started to dig into the existing plans and opening up some of the manholes that were out there and trying to line locate some of the existing utilities was that right underneath the metal fencing is the chilled water pipes that pretty much run along the whole length of it. Just beyond that, in between kind of the sidewalk and that probably a portion of it's under the sidewalk, but there's a large electrical duct bank on just past the chiller pipes. So, we believe that the existing metal fence was put in because you could not get really a strip concrete footing for a brick wall because of those utility conflicts. And so, unfortunately, when we found that out, we kind of reverted back to trying to, obviously trying to find out a solution that would maybe look better than the existing metal wall, but use the post footing that we can fit in with the existing conflicts. So what we're proposing, so as far as the brick goes, we met with some local suppliers and tried to come up with some closely matching bricks to the existing building. We have two samples here for your consideration. There is a Shelby, I don't know how to, where best to put them. Shelby and Old Moss. This is totally up for the board's decision. In our estimation, the Shelby had a darker accent brick color that we believe better matches the side, but obviously that's subjective and it's just our interpretation. So we would, we're kind of suggesting Shelby, but open for discussion on that. And then what we were proposing instead of the metal wall would be a wooden cedar fence. I think there's an example somewhere.
Would that be painted or stained?
So we would, what we would recommend, our thought of which would tie in good would be is if we do go with the Shelby is to try to find a stain that matches the accent brick color and that hopefully ties in the wood with the brick. And so I guess those are the two design considerations for the enclosure.
So staff, without all of us going to take a field trip downstairs, have you put both of these samples
Yes.
side by side?
I did get to take a field trip.
Okay, I love
across
that
the
for you.
street. And I agree that what's the?
Shelby.
Shelby.
The Shelby.
It did match specifically with that one darker brick, that the existing town hall brick has that pattern as well, with one being dark. So those two, I think, either would be good, but if you wanted to kind of match as close as possible to the existing town hall brick, I believe the Shelby would be better.
Thank you. And then did you have samples of the stains by chance, or we didn't get that far yet?
We haven't gotten that far.
That's okay.
I mean, we have a loose one, it's fair, basic, I mean, it hasn't matched completely, but, the idea would be something along these lines. And obviously, we would play around with the number of coats for it to try to, match it as best as possible.
Sure.
But this would kind of be the idea.
Okay. Do you have any other questions, comments, concerns that you want to share with us beforehand?
No?
No, I think they covered it.
Okay. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I think it's a pretty straightforward application. Because it is in the town center overlay, I would like, whatever we decide to approve, either, myself or Robert, just to take a quick look at whatever the stain is that they move forward with.
We can condition that.
I'd appreciate that. I don't have anything else to add. Is there anyone on my board that has any questions, comments, or concerns?
Yeah.
No, I appreciate the care that you took with the materials, and I appreciate you saving the tree.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Is there any members of the public here or in person or online who wish to speak on this matter? Seeing no one, may I have a motion, please?
Thank you. Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing on this matter.
Second.
Rappaport?
Yes.
LaRue?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
Natola?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
I would further like to make a motion to approve the special permit pursuant to Section 4.3.2.21, storage and disposal of oils, fuels, petroleum products of the zoning bylaws to permit the installation of a diesel-powered backup generator as part of the rehabilitation of the HVAC emergency power system and associated on-light improvements located at 29 Center Street, contained in Exhibit A attached as amended.
Second.
Rappaport?
Yes.
LaRue?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
Natola?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Madam Chair, I'd further like to make another motion to approve the request of a minor engineering change for property located at 29 Center Street to expand the mechanical enclosure and reroute the walkway to support the installation of a diesel-powered backup generator as part of the rehabilitation of the HVAC emergency power system and other associated on-site improvements as reflected in the plan entitled Burlington Town Hall HVAC Replacement, prepared by Consulting Engineering Services, LLC, dated April 30th, 2026, consisting of 2 sheets, subject to the following revisions, terms, and conditions as amended.
Second.
Rappaport?
Yes.
LaRue?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
Natola?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen, for all your
Thank you,
time and
board.
effort.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to continuing to work with you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Okay, we're moving back. Liz, we have a presentation. It's a presentation for the Burlington Mall Road Concept Plan, Burlington Economic Development and VHB presenters. Good evening, folks.
Hi, thank you. For the record, my name is Melissa Tintopoulos, Economic Development Director. Again, thank you. And on this item, this is the Middlesex Turnpike Vision Corridor Plan. There is more information in these slides, and a longer extended presentation can be found online on the Town of Burlington's website that we provided to the team. And I just want to kind of set it up and introduce our amazing VHB team here tonight. A little different than the FIFA Watch Party, which is very much a current now Burlington initiative, and gearing kind of to the long term. So now we slow down and really be thoughtful about what we want the Middlesex Turnpike to look like in the future. I don't need to tell this board that this corridor alone is probably the most significant corridor in the region, carrying about 24,000 vehicles every day back and forth. And with that, what we want to look at, in terms of this project, it's really about the economic infrastructure that helps us remain competitive into the future. The roadway is not just, asphalt. It is a public realm that can invite investment, support existing businesses, and then help us, residents and employees, get around, connected, have it more walkable. So with that, today we have, I'll go everyone's first name on the VHB team real quick. We have Evan, Wayne, Jason, and Kristen, and a whole team that has been really working hard. I want to really honor their work because you'll hear a short presentation, relatively speaking, compared to the research and the thoughtfulness that has been put into this effort. And what we're hoping for you guys today is to, as you're thinking about this and hearing the ideas and concept, is to, consider, is this the right direction? Because we are looking for this document to set this stage so that we can use it for private and public investment going forward, whether it be grants, whether it be guiding development, and that's what I hope we can bring to Burlington with this project. So with that, I will turn it over to Wayne.
So, just one quick second. Thank you for the introduction. Anyone who's going to be speaking needs to speak their full name for the record, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Wayne Amico from VHB. We have Evan Miller here, and we have Kristen and Jason back there from the design team. Thank you for meeting with us tonight, and Melissa did a great job describing the project here. The town has hired VHB. We've been working with economic development, planning, engineering, a few other boards in town, and we've done a tremendous inventory of Middlesex Turnpike all the way from Adams Street up to Route 62, and as Melissa's described, we've done kind of a revisioning for the entire corridor, what we hope the town and the board and others will support as a long-term vision for the corridor. So with that, Evan has a slide presentation. We've budgeted about 15 minutes or so, if that's okay. And if we get too long, just tell us and we'll shorten it, okay? But there's a lot of information, and we're going to do our best.
Watched my meetings a few times.
But just if it gets too long, let us know. We get a lot of information we're trying to condense.
You
So
said you have 15 minutes. You've got 15:01.
perfect.
I say that in jest, but
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you all. Melissa, thank you for the introduction. My name's Evan Miller. As Wayne noted, I'm with VHB, planner, landscape architect, designer. I just want to say, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, thank you for the opportunity tonight, the rest of the board, to listen to this presentation. It's been an amazing experience learning about the history of this corridor and the uniqueness of this corridor. So with that, I'm going to start my timer. That little introduction. So there's 4 things I'd like to take you through tonight, what the team's been able to do. First is the introduction of the entire site. Then I'm going to take you through the inventory, which includes both on-site and available online data. And then what we do is we take that inventory and we analyze it, and we try and create the best framework to do projection design on top of. So I'd like you all to put on your Vision 2036 or 2040 hats. This is not an overnight exercise. This is something that we hope can provide a framework for informed decision-making as we move forward in time. The timeline along the bottom shows when we started, December 2025. We got our project kickoff. We had a series of abutter meetings with key stakeholders very early on in the process because we wanted to know what was important to those that actually have businesses and uses along the corridor. We also did a very extensive site walk right after the snow melted to be able to see what was going on out there. And then we met with town officials at 2 different points, which has been just a wonderful experience. So our project starts down at Adams Street, proceeds up under 95 northbound, the whole way past Burlington Mall Road, as Wayne noted, up to the Bedford line. The identified numbers here show folks that we have met with early on in the process to be able to elicit some very important feedback as we started to look at this auto-dependent corridor. The images on the screen show you just some of the current characteristics of the corridor. Points to the south are very sort of confined. A lot of curb cuts that occur down in there, limited walking sidewalks and availability for that. As we move northward, there has been some new development in that area. And then furthest points north, it really opens up and becomes much more natural in character than the urban core that's at the southern portion. What we were hoping to do, our high-level goals, was to develop a unified vision for the corridor to, like we said, inform decision-making around future investments and development projects. We want to identify a coordinated set of materials and concept-level roadway layouts that are feasible for Burlington to implement. We want to improve the experience and safety for people traveling by foot, bike, car, and transit. And we'd like to identify short and long-term actions and funding sources to help support the implementation of this project. This was one of my favorite parts of this whole project, was to look at the history of this corridor. This corridor, when it originally came out, was named the Turnpike. So for the longest while, it has been serviced as a movement of people, right? So you're taking people from one place to the other as far back as 1805. It was created as a toll road in 1811 to 1841. So this corridor has always been generating revenue in some capacity, whether it's moving people down the corridor or bringing people to a destination as a retail spot. The mall was established in 1968, which makes this start to touch the world, right? The larger capacity of the state is coming now to Burlington. And then a series of improvements over time that's widening the corridor, all with the guise of making it more efficient for vehicles to arrive and to shop and to move people through the roadways that are in there. 2024 marks a very interesting experience along in here. MBTA Communities identifies this as an overlay district, which is starting to break from your traditional single-use zoning of retail and starting to bring residents into this area. So no longer is it starting to think about just moving cars efficiently along. Now we're starting to put people here to live, work, and play, right? So we need to start thinking about how we can design this corridor different to appeal to them as well. And then there continues to be ongoing projects into 2026. During our abutter and key stakeholder meetings, there's a list of folks on the top of the screen that you can read who we've met with, but certain themes started to come out of that. Anything that we do to this corridor, the cars are still dominant, and we need to respect that, but then we need to work within the guise of what we can do to make this a better experience for all types of users. We need to strengthen and support better walking and biking experiences. This is coming from the folks that have businesses along here. They'd like to see that. There are great regional bicycle connections in and around these areas that we could connect to and make it more holistic. There are key hotspots that we need to identify to improve safety measures out here as well. We are confined by a very tight right-of-way, which is why Melissa noted that this is going to be a process. We can't do this necessarily overnight. We need to be strategic in, as projects come in for potential redevelopment or site plan submittal, there's a negotiation about what that right-of-way may, with easements or certain dedications, to be able to allow this project to reach its full potential. Visibility, signage, and lighting is also key along in here. The land use out here is currently changing, and we have a lot of residential that's currently coming into this. Large recent developments include Lifetime Living, which is 200 residential units that have come online, 9 townhomes. The district, just around the corner, is bringing a mixed-use commercial and retail off of Mall Road. We have a proposed 188-unit residential development just off of Great Meadow Road, and a potential proposed multifamily overlay district just south of 95. So our once retail-based corridor is changing and evolving, and what we want to do is allow this design to change and evolve over time with it. There's some very interesting environmental conditions. This corridor is not just about a road, but it's about the landscape that the road sits on. It's very interesting, the slope and topography that creates this very, in some conditions, confined corridor and an open corridor. So in some conditions, you have ledge and rock that comes down and defines a very aggressive slope. In other areas, you have a fall off that may go down to a wetland. That is what makes this corridor unique to Burlington, right? It's those type of environmental features that we want to play up, because otherwise it's anywhere USA, right? Let's think about those things that make it unique to the corridor, and let's play off of those in our design. Some of the environmental features that are currently out there, there are drainage areas, we have naturalized wetlands, forested areas, and the Vine Creek that comes in here. One of the things I was told very early on is go take all your site photos in the wintertime, because any renderings you do will always make them look better in the end. So that's why these were all taken in the winter. These are also some great shots we have just showing the character. Abbott Park, there's some, down towards Abbott Park, there's some landscape medians in the parking lots. Street trees are starting to be introduced along 3rd Avenue. We have an area in the northern portion of this that there are geese out there. So, you know, we actually have natural fauna and animals that are out here. Large street trees help define areas along Blue Sky Drive, and some really nice new landscape at the Kent residence. The other nice thing out here is that there's an existing transit network. And when you think about buses and transit, that's also a gateway point to here. So it's not just the vehicle that's bringing people from one side to the other, but when you get off a bus or you get on a bus, you have to think about where that person is eventually going. What's the infrastructure? What's the sidewalk look like? What's the opportunity to take that person and introduce them to this corridor, introduce them to what it means to be Burlington? So we've inventoried that and analyzed that. We also looked at the crash data in 2025 and really saw that south of Burlington Mall Road, there's a high number of vehicular crashes that occur down there. Legibility and creating a hierarchy to intersections and making it obvious to the car and the pedestrian where people need to cross, when you're coming towards an intersection, all those things can help reduce crashes and improve safety. So part of this is providing a design framework that will help in some ways reduce those crashes. The traffic analysis that we've looked at, as Melissa said, we've got 25,000 cars per day south of Wheeler Road, and we've got almost 20,000 cars per day north of Middlesex Turnpike. That's an incredible number of people that are moving along your corridor that you can take advantage of. It's the opportunity to really let them know what Burlington can be in the future and what it means to be in Burlington. We've also looked at the speed along those areas and the volume of cars across time. What we noticed is that morning commute and evening commute starts relatively early, which is why lighting, not just for the vehicles, but for the pedestrians, is something that needs to be considered as well, because in the wintertime, it gets dark really late and it gets light really early. No, inverted. So we need to consider what lighting looks like in and around that area. We also looked at pedestrian volumes. So in the summertime, we've got almost 700 people walking along those areas in the current condition of what the sidewalks are right now, and we'll take a few photographs of that. 71 bicycles, almost 1,000 buses, for a total vehicle trips, including everything, of almost 300,000. That drops off in the wintertime, but it's not non-existent. There are still people using this corridor in the wintertime, so we need to design for 12 months out of the year, 4 seasons. There's also, we did some inventory on the signage and utility infrastructure. There's really no clear place to land a lot of that stuff. It's sort of haphazard and is dictated by whatever site design occurs at that time. So we'd like to formalize that and come up with a plan to put that into the right spot. So that led to all of that inventory we then analyzed as a group set, and we came up with 4 zones that we were really looking at. Zone 1 is south of 95 down to Adams Street. Zone 2 is 95 up to Burlington Mall Road. Zone 3 moves from Burlington Mall Road up to Middlesex Turnpike Extension and Terrace Hall Avenue. And then the final zone is Zone 4, from Terrace Hall Avenue up to Route 62, Burlington Road. Each one of those areas has a unique design to them. And thus, when we look at the designing into the future, that you're going to see in our kit of parts and the way that we design this, a little bit of tweaks along in there, but there's going to be a common language between that whole corridor that makes it all legible as you move from one side to the other. We're just inventorying and showing some of the land use and development analysis that has occurred along here. Some of these parcels are large, but are constrained by uses, infrastructure, and slopes. But we have opportunities to play that up and really work with that, which we're excited about. There's also environmental impacts, like I noted, some very steep slopes that we have to deal with. There's also right-of-way that's currently under wellhead protection zones, all of which will eventually affect the permitting process through here, but we just want to acknowledge that it could also provide some very interesting ways to address that. And then we did our transportation analysis that looked at the crash speeds and how people are moving and crossing the streets and where there's legibility for crossing in those zones. We also noted that there's a lack of sidewalk in a lot of areas, especially on the eastern side of the corridor. So we really wanted to see if there was a way to solve that problem as well. That leads us to our master kit of parts, which our vision over the next 2 decades for Middlesex Turnpike will transform the turnpike into a distinctive parkway. I like using that term instead of turnpike. I like the idea of parkway that seamlessly connects residential areas to thriving commercial centers through safe, pleasant walking and biking paths, integrated with existing roadway and the area's open spaces. This unique Burlington corridor will become more than a roadway, shifting to a vibrant green connector that is recognizable character that enhances quality of life for residents, workers, and visitors, and strengthens Burlington's economic vitality. So this is the proposed corridor framework. I've got some graphics up on the screen right now. We've looked at this in segments, and we've studied it in cross-section. So at the 2 ends, at the northern and southernmost areas, we're proposing a cross-section that we call the arrival cross-section. What we've been able to do is design within the existing roadway corridor, but adjusted the width of the shoulders slightly, and also assuming that we may be encroaching in some areas into the existing right-of-way. But what we'd like to set up is some level of gateway signage and a nice plant palette to be able to create some level of passage. You've come into an area, you've passed through it, and then you're moving on to a different area. It establishes the start and the stop of the corridor. In street section, what that looks like for the pedestrian, we're building off a 2-foot wide shoulder, a 5-foot wide planting area, a 6-foot wide accessible sidewalk, and now what we're calling a 3-foot wide utility zone, which in the future, instead of just having utilities sort of fall where they may, we're dedicating, or we're proposing to dedicate an area that can locate all utilities moving forward. As you move out of the entry area, especially south of 95, the existing conditions down there are very condensed. They're very, your parking lots are right up against the roadway, the buildings are right up against the roadway, the slope comes up. It doesn't afford us a lot of opportunity to do some extensive landscape, but it still allows us to do the palette of materials that we've come up with to create this consistent vision that moves along the entire corridor. In this zone, we have slightly less space than in other areas. We still have our 2-foot shoulder, but we've reduced our paver area down to 3 feet. We're proposing a 5-foot wide sidewalk, but we still maintain that 3-foot wide utility zone that we talked about. Once we come out of that and we get a little bit more space, we've created this as a proposed cross-section that's our typical. What do we really want to see here? We want to see a great edge to the roadway that's defined by some level of paver or imprint concrete or something like that that gives the pedestrian a nice separation from the vehicles that are moving along in there. It also gives us an area to land lights, both for the pedestrian and the vehicles, and then land our street trees as well. We're also showing, like I said before, the 6-foot wide sidewalk and the utility zone, all while maintaining within the existing roadway corridor. Now, this is a great area. When you come off of 95, either north or south, and you start to move in front of the mall, we really wanted to set up a distinctive corridor that said, "Welcome to Burlington," right? So you've now come off here. There are some challenges in there with the roadways. There's a center median that slopes down slightly, but this really gives us a great opportunity to continue that language and also start to introduce some really cool signage and really change the character of what this vision could become, what this whole area could become, and make it distinct to Burlington. This image is showing what that sloped condition can look like. That no longer needs to just be a simple asphalt slope with a retaining wall. You might be able to drop that, introduce some plant material in the center of it with another area for a paver band, and that could also help with some snow storage along in there as well. We have 2 very distinct looking edges to the roadway. On the left-hand side, which is where the slope is that goes up to the mall, or I'm sorry, to the movie theater, we're showing a 2-foot wide shoulder, a 5-foot wide planting zone, a 6-foot wide sidewalk, and now an 8-foot signage and utility zone. On the opposite side, where the mall itself is, with a little bit of retaining, you might be able to now create, where there doesn't exist a sidewalk today, a nice new wide plaza that would invite potential new development into that area that now could engage the roadway instead of turning its back on the roadway, which is something that currently occurs. As we move out of this corridor and we continue northbound up near Blue Sky Drive and the campus up there, the character changes. We become much more environmental. There's much more natural landscape up there. So we've decided to potentially change what the look and experience is up there. So no longer are we binding the sidewalk to the back of curb, but we're taking a little bit more land up there to be able to create a mixed-use path, something that organically flows throughout that area on both sides. It would engage some of the wetland areas that would require some additional permitting. But by providing a nice mixed-use trail up there and not your traditional sidewalk, it would give the residents that live in the surrounding neighborhoods the ability to come in, take advantage of that trail, and then loop back into their neighborhoods. So folks that necessarily aren't on the corridor could utilize the corridor. And we're taking advantage of the land and the topography and the natural character up there to change the condition of that whole area. So we're still maintaining that 2-foot wide shoulder. Now we have a nice offset of from the road of 8 feet, a 10-foot wide mixed-use trail, and still maintaining our zone for utilities. Bikes are very important along in here, but one thing that I missed in the presentation, instead of trying to fit bike lanes right along the roadways down in here, there are some great parallel roads that go on either side of this that we could encourage bicyclists to take advantage of from a much more safe route, maybe going up 2nd Ave and maintaining and coming back down. But at some point, you're going to have to get under 95. So we've looked at being able to take the current sidewalk under 95, lifting it up to be able to widen it, to wide enough to be able to make it a mixed-use path. And what that could potentially look like is something that's on the screen right now. By lifting it up and then pushing it back into the slanted bridge abutment, it gives us a little bit more space to widen it up to a 10-foot wide trail with 2-foot wide shoulders on either side, all while maintaining a 10-foot wide clearance from the bottom of the abutment of the bridge down to the top of the trail itself. So focusing on the sidewalks is one thing, but also intersection improvements as a legibility to the vehicles is something else that we considered. We really looked at the Burlington Mall Road, 2nd Ave intersection with Middlesex Turnpike as the heart of this entire corridor. It's where you can come up and you go down to the district or you continue points northward. And we made this our Tier 1 intersection. So with some great improvements to this area in material selection and tying it into the sections that we designed for the roadway, it gives us the opportunity to create a there spot for this whole corridor. It's also indicative to the vehicle that now you're coming into a different space, a space that's dedicated to the pedestrian, hopefully being able to reduce some of those accident numbers that we saw occurring at a lot of these intersections. And what we would then plan to do is take that and still translate a portion of those materials to other intersections along the way. So now there's legibility in materials and a hierarchy to intersections as you move up and down the corridor. So what does this all mean, all this proposed design, as far as impacts to the adjacent abutters? We've put these into 3 different buckets: a low impact, medium impact, and high impact, just to give the town a better understanding of what would need to be acquired, negotiated, to be able to make these projects move forward. And we've created an exhibit to inventory that for them. The other great thing that we got to do as part of this project was proposed corridor signage and branding. So we've just come up with some potential ideas for helping to reinforce the fact that you've arrived to Burlington. We have a hierarchy of signs going from a long linear landscape sign that would occur across from the mall in points along the slope from 95 up to Burlington Mall Road. We have pillar welcome signage that would occur at our gateways. We have directional and wayfinding signage that would all be part of a signage package to, again, reinforce the fact that this is a legible corridor along the entire length. And then finally, character identifier and informational signage. Those are some very interesting pedestrian level signs that could speak to some of the history of the turnpike itself. It could speak to the environmental interests along in here, but it's just something that could reinforce the fact that this is a unique corridor and special to Burlington. I went over my time, I apologize.
And I still didn't kick you out.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. We did provide a recording at one point Melissa sent off. It was an hour long, so if you had the chance to listen to it, thank you, but.
Speed that up, though, cut it down to about 40 minutes.
Yeah, if you press the button, you sound like the Micro Machine guy.
Oh, perfect. Excellent, excellent. It's so odd to give a presentation to
found that
yourself.
very helpful.
Oh, good.
Yes, I did as well.
I tried to condense that into tonight, but still get a lot of the points across. So, again, this has been a wonderful experience. We've had a great team working on it. We've had great input from town staff, and we're really happy to share it with you and elicit any feedback or questions you may have.
Great, thank you. Staff?
So I guess echoing what Melissa said, they've been working diligently on this. I know that, kind of be interesting to hear your thoughts and how, thinking about implementation. I think there's a little bit, I think Melissa has a little bit more to talk about how we're thinking about implementing it. And maybe Wayne, you have some other, ideas about how we do that. But there is a phase 2 to this project. This is just, get feedback. Is this the right direction? Are there things that, need to be adjusted? We're at a vision. I know there's additional data that has been collected as part of this that's going to help inform the next phase. So with that, that's kind of all I have, Madam Chair.
I will start with one thing, and I think that everybody that knows me, it's been kind of a thorn in my side. When we present something, whether it be, a proposed project, I want to see, and I think it's important for the public to see everything that has been approved, whether or not it's been developed or not. And so what we're missing here is Phase 2 of Lifetime Apartments on page 10.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So I think it's important to show that what could be,
Okay.
because that doesn't exist right now. Or the mixed-use district. These are all things that have been approved, what the potential is. And so if we're talking about what happens in 2030, what's happening in 2036, those are approved. That could happen tomorrow, that could start in 2032. But what your plans are showing doesn't reflect either of those things. So I want to start by saying that. So that's first and foremost. I'm going to let the board, well, actually, I have one more question. We talked about a butters meeting. And then you also talk about offering a greater residential factor. That being said, have you spoken to any of the residents in that area, whether or not they are Third Ave residents, district residents, town meeting members for those districts? That's pretty crucial as well, because you need that buy-in.
Yeah.
That is their product.
Yeah.
That's the product of the corporations and the asset owners in this area.
Yeah.
So bringing their buy-in and knowing what product they're trying to sell to the actual user group might be pretty important. So I will stop at that, and then I will pass it on to anyone who wants to speak next.
Sure. I have a couple questions, comments, thoughts. First of all, thank you for the work.
Yeah.
Clearly a lot of thought, a lot's gone into this. Call out that, I do appreciate the concept of accentuating nature, some of the uniqueness of this area to make it different. I've traveled a bunch personally and for work, and a lot of the times you go places, they look exactly the same. So I think it's fundamental that we make this different than standard, blocks of 5-1 construction, just on and on and on.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. I think you've got some very good concepts about making this more pedestrian-friendly, to activate certain areas, but I think, and broader than just planning, you need to look at how can we increase the transit cycle time at peak times. You've got maps of the buses, the routes, the frequency, but when you're looking at, a bus running every 60 to 90 minutes on the weekend, that's when these areas are active.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able to get people to get out of their cars and moving from spot to spot to drive the economic aspects. I know that's not necessarily the purview of the planning of this, but it's something that I think has to be considered and thought through in the overall strategic approach. I also think you're very right that there's a lot of curb cuts in certain areas that drive crashes. I think we have to think through not just making intersections visible, but with the amount of cars that are on here. I've seen the crashes a lot. A lot of the time it's either people distracted or being frustrated and trying to take a left through that traffic.
Yeah.
So it's not just having them have a visual or a tactile implementation on the road that's going to drive that. We have to think through the entire flow. So that kind of goes also back to transit. And just flow in the area is very important. And my last comment on flow, in seeing the layout of the sidewalks, there were plans and designs for the different types of field and sidewalk for different areas. But I noticed when it goes to under 95, goes under the overpass, it cuts to one side. And I understand there's limitations, that's why that's happening. But if we're looking at that, we have to make sure that the flow for the people is safe, it's clean, because you're asking them to cross a major corridor, possibly in shadow, under 95. So as we develop this and look at it, we really have to think about what is the flow of the cars now and the people, what's it going to be in the future, and how do we alter it and change it to become more pedestrian friendly, to get people to move from store to store. So
that's a great point.
Just some thoughts and perspective that I think need to go into this as well.
Great, thank you.
Units?
I'll go.
Barbara?
Okay. Well, first of all, I love the vision. I mean, it's beautiful. Why wouldn't we want this, right? It's so much more inviting, so much prettier, and this vision, what you're showing us is a place where people would want to walk. What I'm having a hard time with is how we get there. But before we get to those, I had a couple of more specific questions on the presentation.
Sure.
When we look at the typical condensed corridor, is it possible, and you don't have to answer this question now, but I would like to see if it's possible to flip the utility section
What page are you on?
to make,
So everybody else at home can follow along.
it doesn't have a number. It's
30.
proposed corridor section, typical condensed.
Yeah, I'll go back to it on the screen.
Just because we always want to move the people as far away from the traffic as we can.
Yep.
So in this particular condensed area, they're really still pretty close to the street.
They are.
I didn't know if there was some way to change that so that we could maybe put the utilities strip between them and the street. I don't know if that's possible. Anything we can do to move the people further away from the traffic, I think would be great. My other nitpicky question was when we look at the shared use path
Yes.
underneath the overpass. I love how you have that thing, it goes up and there's the retaining wall and the people are away from the cars, looks lovely. Is there really enough room under there to do that without redoing the overpass?
So we've started to look at the planning level, some potential finish elevations on the underpass abutment, as well as where the grade is, and we believe that you could have a 10-foot wide clearance without getting into the design drawings. There's things we need to understand about that abutment to make sure that this is possible, but conceptually, what the elevations are telling us is we have the ability to lift that up.
And you have the depth.
And we
as well.
have the length to be able to make the runs, to be able to get back as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good, because that would be really nice to provide that safety underneath the overpass, because right now no one wants to walk there, really. So then, other questions I had, like I said, my main thing is, how do we get there? And I have concerns about how we're going to pay for it. A lot of this looks like it would require takings of land. And I understand that part of that would be through the TIP program, but I don't know if they would be able to fund takings of land. And then my other question is, and I don't expect an answer, but I'm assuming this is going to be happening in a piecemeal fashion. It's not all going to happen at once. So then I have concerns, if that's happening, during that process, there'll be gaps. How do we deal with that? We don't want people walking down a lovely sidewalk and then just having it end and we dump them there onto the street and it's
Yes.
unsafe. So how we deal with the gaps during this long period where we're getting there
Yeah.
is of concern to me. And then we will have to, at some point, talk about the cost of maintenance.
Yeah.
I love the trees, I love the grass, it looks wonderful. Who's going to maintain that? Is that rec? Is that the highway department? Not an insurmountable problem,
Right.
but something we need to probably talk with the town about. And then, I'm assuming through all of this, you've done a whole lot of work. You probably have a lot of data
Yes.
about, traffic data and data about the intersections. And if we're going to be making decisions, if this is a plan that's adopted, and then we're supposed to be making decisions when we meet with applicants about this, rather than having to redo all that data, we'd want to have access to all the data that you have.
Yes.
So that means some of it would have to be redone as the years go by because it will change. But I think it would be important for us to have access to all that data as we're looking at projects that come forward. So my biggest concern, like I said, I love the vision. I'm not sure how we pay for this.
Sure.
Thank you.
Do you want?
If you have answers, I would
We
love
can
to
start,
hear them.
we can start to, because we've talked about this. This is something that, so through the site plan submittal process, as projects start to turn over, you have the opportunity to look at future applications and tie it back to a framework that you're hoping to establish someday. It doesn't mean that that has to occur on the opening day if they are able to negotiate an easement along in there. And if you collect enough easements, then maybe a project takes place to prevent the sort of piecemeal that you're talking about. So at day one on that site plan application and construction, you don't necessarily need to build it, but you might know another project that's coming up, and then you could help and have a conversation. Maybe there's an opportunity for donation or negotiation with additional ones. And then when you get enough of a mass of these parcels in line, then maybe that's when you go after certain funding sources that can help offset the cost or pay for some of these as well. So that's one strategy. As far as ongoing maintenance, we have had conversations about maintenance. We've also looked at, we're creating 3 different buckets of materials and their costs and life cycle length. So, you know, maybe it's a paver band with actual pavers on a concrete base. Maybe it's poured-in-place concrete that is tinted to look like brick. So there's different options that you can do that all have different lifespans to help inform what that will eventually look like and a cost and maintenance strategy that goes behind that as well. Did you want to?
No, I think that's,
okay.
Yeah.
Something you said
Yeah.
triggered another question in my mind. I understand that, I believe Melissa got a grant that funded this, which is great. But what you talked about too is that there's a design phase now that comes up, but this has to be fully designed out.
Correct.
Is there money left in the grant for that design phase, or for at least part of the design phase? Because that's going to be pretty expensive too.
We are looking after, kind of we get general consensus on the vision plan. We will have to do some work with the engineering division to prioritize areas and then get cost estimates to see if we can afford the design. And then we would probably start to work on the best strategy to tackle the different projects.
So I guess.
Is there money left from the grant though, to get started?
There is some money, but I can't say it's enough to, fully design any one aspect of what you're seeing currently.
Do you have a ballpark of what's left?
I'd have to go back and look at that. I can get it back for you.
If you could, because I think it was what, $1 million?
Yeah, we had $1 million grant through MassWorks.
That's great. It was great for securing that, but I'd be interested to know what we spent on this project as kind of or this part of the project, I should say, as a guideline to kind of move forward with what's the next phase going to cost us, what's left over, and how can we attribute those funds to move forward and make this project come to fruition.
Right.
So those are my questions. I think this is a wonderful vision document. It's something to strive for. And I'm sure that I'm going to have more questions as things progress, but it looks beautiful.
Great. Thank you.
I like the whole project. I think it's going to be a lot of work to get there, but it's going to be a great effort. I do have a few questions. My favorite thing about it is the underpass. I think that's a great idea of elevating it, not too much, to get that extra width. Because actually, when we were talking about the Summit Ave one, we were trying to figure out the best way to do that, and that's, we hadn't even thought of that, so that's a great idea. My questions really revolve around the traffic. And so you've got 24,000 vehicles south of Wheeler Road. And you've got 19,000 north of Middlesex Turnpike Extension. Where all the traffic comes from is off of 95 and off of Mall Road, right? So if we've got 30,000 cars a day coming down Mall Road, they're going to take a left or a right on the Middlesex Turnpike. Do you have those accounted for anywhere?
Yes, so the essence of all of this is we're not taking any traffic capacity away from what's there. And to your point about turning lanes and so forth, we've augmented that in our concept design to provide for that turning. But if there's 2 lanes in each direction out there in a specific section, it's going to be the same. We're not looking to take away capacity at all. We're
No,
gonna
I'm not actually saying that. I'm not asking if you're taking away the capacity. I'm asking, do we know what the current numbers are?
Yes, we've looked at all of, there's been counts, there's been inventories, and all of that's being accounted for in the concept design.
Okay, and so then, in your perfect world, when you do all of this, and we've got the 279,000 vehicles total over a week span, what's your new goal? What's your new target? Because is it to prevent a drop-off, or is it to make it increased? Because if it's increased, then there's more revenue that's going to be generated from it, and then the town is happy. If there's a drop-off, right, so are we doing this to facilitate more traffic?
It's a good question, and if I understand your question correctly, I think ultimately, if the corridor is looked at as a whole, right, and each intersection is analyzed, we'd be prioritizing things to more efficiently move traffic. So to your point, theoretically, maybe more traffic could flow through here more efficiently than it does now. That would be the long-term goal. If the corridor, to Evan and Melissa's point, could all be redeveloped at once, but we understand it's going to be done in sections, right?
Yeah.
But that would be the goal, is all of the traffic signals are being analyzed, and they'll be maximized so that there'll be more efficient flow of traffic through the corridor. That's the overall goal.
Okay. And then as far as the accidents are concerned?
Can I add to that question as well?
Sure.
I would also say by improving the public realm, that with the residents moving in here, it's not a lot, but it's going to take that person that is living across the street that doesn't feel safe walking across the street to a restaurant or to the mall. Well, now they are not getting their car to go to a different destination. I understand it's different, but it's in conjunction. It's a holistic design that helps mitigate the problem in certain areas and other areas. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, to relay that back or come full circle on that, one of the reasons why I asked the question is are you trying to prevent a drop-off, or are you trying to increase? So now, I forget who had said it, we talked about negotiation, with some of the building owners on the property. If you can show them that there's going to be an increase in their business potential because of this new design, your negotiations are a lot easier.
Good point.
As opposed to if it's going to slow it down. And so that's one of my concerns, or not necessarily a concern, but a thought process.
That's a great point, because when we had our conversation with the stakeholders, it was don't lose efficiency. So we kind of went, here's our baseline, but I like how you flipped it and said, well, how can you also, by not losing, also increase it? So as we go back and continue to study the roadway network of the corridor, you can see a lot of this effort was outside of the roadway. We are still in the process of working what the eventual adjustments to the lane lengths, the stacking for the turning, what that looks like. Keeping that in mind, I think, is going to be helpful as well. So it's a good point.
And then my last question, one of the things I think that's missing, in one of these slides, you have a 3% or 10% grade change.
Yeah.
But you don't have you could have a 20% grade and it's over 3 feet.
Yeah.
Which is going to be, if it was 40 feet over that same 20% grade.
Yeah.
Then it's more of an insurmountable task.
Right.
But if it only goes up 3 or 4 feet in elevation total.
Yeah.
It's an easier thing to work with. And so I'd be curious to see not only the gradient, but the actual elevation change.
Yeah.
That we're working with.
Yeah, and that kind of ties back to this slide where, like, there are certain areas where we're acknowledging high impact. There's wetlands and extensive slope and ledge that we may have to deal with in that gradient that would need to be just designed further whenever we get to those specific projects.
Okay.
Great.
So if you do have the traffic coming off of 95 North, 95 South, and Middlesex Turnpike, that would be great.
We do, we have those numbers. Yeah, we have those numbers.
Yeah, we do.
And the question about availability of data, I can't remember who asked it. Yeah, the intent was to hand the data over to
That's
the
going to
town.
all be part of the final.
So I think that the data needs to be updated if we haven't included like the second phase of lifetime
new-
and the second, or
So-
the mixed use.
So what we would usually do is, so we have this baseline data, and then, you know, when a project would come in, we would say, you know, you need to, here's the data that we have, what is your project going to do, model that for us, how are you going to mitigate that, how can you, you know, incorporate this new design into your project, and how we move that forward.
I would just hate for a new applicant to come to, you know,
Yes.
come to us and say, well, this is the existing data right now, and it's not as accurate as it could be.
Yep, that's, that,
So I just want to make sure we're on the same
Absolutely.
page.
And do you mind one quick thing?
By all means.
I think it's important, I mean, your 7-day studies were in the summer and the winter. You know, any new residential construction, while we, you know, I personally would love to see people being able to use public transit, walking, biking to get places, that's going to happen in the summer. It's not going to happen in the winter. So we need those two scenarios, I think, about what does it look like when people are out and active, kind of organically in the nice weather versus when they're getting in their cars to go 5 feet in the dead of winter.
I agree. Thank you. Member Kelly?
Yep, thank you. I did watch the lengthy presentation,
Awesome.
and it generated an awful lot of questions.
All right.
Many of which have been asked and answered. The big one for me is the land we'll need. I'd like to see a map showing me the land we need, who owns it, and because you have slope, we're going to need not just the land, but slope easements.
Exactly. Yep.
And so I'd like to know who we're going to have to ask for the land. Are they going to make us buy it? Are they going to give it to us? And my thought is, how do we ask Project A to give us some land, and when they think Project B later on is not going to give us the land? So I'd like to know how we can somehow know before we do Project 1, are we going to be able to do Project Z?
Very good questions, and what you don't see in here is we have a survey of the entire corridor, right? So we have that information in CAD, in the computer, and we've also started to lay this out along that entire corridor,
So
right?
that'll be in the next phase.
So in part of this, as we are, not even in the next phase, as part of what you get in your deliverable at the end of this phase, is that role plan that, to your point, will show the impact and the exact widths as designed in the computer, so you'll have a much more informed ability to understand what that true impact is along the entire corridor.
Yeah, let me take Greg's question and ask it a different way. How much of this is designed to mitigate the problem we have, and how much designed to allow more development?
Well, can I speak to that?
go for it.
I mean, part of the traffic counts and part of assessing kind of current conditions, you have a sense of where you are today, right? And there is some critical areas that we can point to that are, quote, in a different class of failing, kind of over by Market Basket. But overall, this carries people very well. You're not necessarily having trouble with the vehicle traffic. Over time, what we're noticing and observing through land use changes is it's evolving in that this is not strictly, drive to industrial office parks isolated. We are introducing people, so part of it is enhancing the public realm, maintaining what Wayne said is the capacity of cars moving through, and that is not changing. So in a lot of ways, it's working well for cars. And that continues to work well for cars, and we're not changing the capacity, and not looking to change the capacity. That would be a separate entire analysis if you were looking at added lanes like Texas or something.
So I just want to jump in because one of the comments, it was actually a comment that I received from a member of the community. Basically, their concern is that, Cambridge Street's a nightmare, and not that that's a you problem, but this is now, we're changing the dynamic from another north-south roadway and potentially going to increase more traffic by this plan. And you can shake your head, I could shake my head, we don't know what we don't know. I mean, the potential and the goal is not to increase more traffic, but this could potentially do just that. Barbara, I know you wanted to chime in on.
I have to disagree with one of the statements that was made. I don't think that traffic is working well now. There are times of the day and times of the year where you can't get from Adams Street down to Burlington Mall Road without it's very, very packed. And there are times when you're trying to turn out. I mean, I remember, and it's still the same case, if you're trying to take a left out of the Real Steel School of Music, you can't unless there's a cop there. I don't think it works well now. There's a lot of waiting time and that's why there are crashes, because people get frustrated and they're trying to go around.
And that's
like
also-
Jeremy was saying,
That's why there's detail right outside Trader Joe's. and
I don't think
Bob's
it works right
Furniture.
now. So if we can improve the flow, if we can make that better, that's great.
Yep.
But I don't think we should fool ourselves that it's working great now.
Jack?
Yeah, to that point, I have the flexibility of going on Google Maps or Google Traffic and decide, I'm not going there now. Not everybody does. They have to go to work, or they have limited time. I forget what my last question was, so I'm going to have to skip it.
Can I ask one thing?
I'm going to let her, and then.
Okay.
Does it pertain to the specific, or is it something different?
It was, well, okay. It's a very, she said I could. Very briefly. So you have the accidents, right? But the accidents don't happen in a vacuum. Based upon, if we take it, the traffic that comes off of comes off of 95 north and south, and comes off of Mall Road, gives us a total universe of our traffic on Middlesex Turnpike. And now we have our total number of accidents. So if we have however many million cars a year going up and down Middlesex Turnpike, and we have however many accidents, how does that put us compared to the rest of the state or comparable roads? Is it better, is it worse, or are we right in the middle? Because if we've got 58 accidents in the high crash zone, but it's still less than the state median or the state average, then is it really a problem? Or if we're worse, then it is a problem. If we're a lot better, then I don't know if you could fix it, right? So that is, so like I said, nothing happens in a vacuum.
Right.
And so we would need something to compare it with, where we stand, where it stands today compared to the rest of the state.
I mean, at the end of this, there's going to be a huge appendix that has all the data, right? And it's going to have all the analysis, and it's going to show, I think what you're referring to is going to show like the level of service at these different intersections, right? And that you can compare to other sections of the state. Is this intersection operating at a level of service C versus B or whatever? And to the point that Barbara was making about it may not operate in certain sections great right now, as part of the conceptual planning, to the point you were talking about the School of Music, right? Well, one of the suggestions is going to be a signal needs to be there, right? So that's going to be something that will be part of the long-term vision, that if you can make things work with everybody, that would improve the flow. And it would make that level of service better through that section from 95 to Adams Street.
Yeah.
Member Kelly, remember.
My last question.
His last
How does this work between mid-November and mid-January?
In what respect?
Yeah,
Because it's the mall traffic.
Oh, with the mall traffic.
Yeah.
Again, it's going to work as it's working currently today, because
Which is not very good.
Not exactly.
Correct.
So
Correct.
let me chime in on that one. So when the signals are conceptually designed and let's say optimized, right?
I thought we did that.
We did, and there's an adaptive system up and down the corridor now, right? Standard signal design, you design for like the 95th percentile queue, it's what it's called, right? Christmas is kind of an exception, and you can't plan for that, because if you plan for Christmas being every day, you'd need 12 lanes, right? So that's a little bit of a, the mall is a big draw, and we understand it can get crazy during the holidays. You don't design for that holiday peak. It gets factored in, but you design for the rest of the year, if that makes sense.
We're dependent upon that. They make 50% of their money in 2 months of the year. And, you know, we can't, we've got to help them, allow them to make that money.
Well, again, as the signals get upgraded, it'll increase the efficiency, but, you know, to be completely candid, like if there's 4 lanes on the road, we can't make it 6 lanes, to the point that Evan was making. There's not enough right-of-way to do that, even if people were to donate that land. And you can't go from 6 lanes to 4 lanes to 6 lanes, because then the efficiency drops off even worse.
Understood. Tony Ann?
I just want to say, a lot of the questions I have been asked and answered. I think it's a really good concept. I think it's an improvement with the walking in the bike areas from what we had spoke about before. I like it a lot. I think maybe to alleviate some of the problems, maybe we could look at the areas where there's the most crashes and this and that, and try to implement something in those areas to make it a little bit more workable, because the concept of it all, I think, is great. I just think if we worked on those areas there, I mean, I love the underpass, I love all how you did that, if that was ever doable. I think it would take people, if they could walk or use their bicycles or something, it's user-friendly. The look of it looks very inviting. The parts that I think that we have a lot of crashes or this and that, if we could work on those specific areas, I think it would be a really nice plan.
That's a great.
Good work.
Thank you.
That's very helpful.
Yeah, I think just.
Is there anyone else that would like to, I don't want to, I hate calling people out specifically, then they feel like they need to talk.
She's all set?
She's all set. Well, I know she doesn't
A
feel
lot
well,
of her
so I didn't want to make
questions were also
her
asked by the board.
push,
Yeah, a lot of them.
push her voice. I know what it's like to lose my voice. Some people enjoy it more than others. My last question for you. I got to keep things entertaining. These are long, arduous meetings. Come on. My last question, it's really more of a statement than a question, is that I just want to assure when we speak next that you've gone through all the signage recommendations or desires with the ZBA. If that hasn't been done, please make sure that that is done, because that's their purview and not necessarily ours. So, gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen, I think that this is a wonderful concept. I think, you know, you've done a lot of work, and I appreciate that. Thank you for that. I think we definitely, it's a great starting point. There's still a lot of work to do. And again, Melissa, you're doing a great job in trying to improve the community.
And we really
Thank you for your
appreciate,
time.
and we really appreciate the comments. I mean, it's
Thank you,
great.
yeah,
that
thank you
you've had-
for the comments, and I think we'll be able to now share these comments with the select board for Monday night, so that will also be very helpful and informative.
I would appreciate that. And again, if you could reach out to the town meeting members, because that specific area, those town meeting members, they're very,
367.
they're very passionate about that specific area, and they have a very different dynamic than the remainder of the, you know, the remainder of the community.
Awesome.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You
Okay,
too.
thank you.
Moving on to item C. Item C is a public hearing, petition to rescind the Peach Lane definitive subdivision plan that was submitted by First Peach Orchard Realty Trust and First Patriot Corporation. Good evening.
Good evening. Madam Chair, members of the board and staff, I'm Bill Proya for the applicant tonight, and I have representatives from ownership if we need to talk to them. So just quickly, this is a very old subdivision plan, and any idea that this was ever going to be built out died a long time ago and is not coming back. So
Remember that, Dad.
yes, so do I. And this is a happier time, I think. So like I said, there's no intention of
building out the subdivision. Nonetheless, the documents still remain on the record. And in fact, the owner actually has a buyer that wants to buy the lot as a single-family lot. And their lender has raised issues about the subdivision and asked us to come to the board and request the rescission to clear the permitting and title record of the property. And that's why we're here. They have no intention of using the property. That's not their business, and it's not, again, will not be used in conjunction with the abutting land where the multifamily development sits. So it's an opportunity to put it back where it was before the subdivision was proposed. That's really the essence of it.
Sure. So this is a subdivision rescission. We don't see these very often. So what we are essentially doing is we're cleaning up the title of the land. In the registry, this property all has a subdivision, and that's what the registry and the state believes the land is going to be used for. This is changing that. You guys are going to be signing, or there's going to be, you won't be signing the plan, but there's going to be an 81X plan that's going to show, again, back to the single-family lot. And so as part of that, we need you to sign some documents. First of all, the first thing that you guys will be signing is a Form F, a certificate of a rescission of a subdivision. And then, with a subdivision, you see a roadway covenant, and you see all these documents about conditional approval, definitive subdivision covenant, and grant of easements. So all of those are going to be, the rescission, all these are going to be filed with the registry, so anybody looking up the property knows that everything's all set, and any lenders will be all set for this to go back to being a single-family home and changing title. So that is... That's all.
I feel like this is probably one of the easiest things we've seen in a very long time, which is nice.
Yes.
I don't have anything to add. I think it's pretty straightforward. Is there anyone on the board that has any questions, comments, or concerns?
No.
Just a comment. I live at 36, and when I moved, I was told about this. When I joined as a town meeting member, I was told that whatever we do on Peach Orchard, we should make sure that this never gets developed. So I know there are going to be a lot of people on Peach Orchard in that area that, if this passes, are going to be very thankful.
You just turned into a hero. Congratulations. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the public or online that has any questions, comments, or concerns they'd like to add to this matter? Seeing no one, may I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing on this matter.
Second.
Rappaport.
Yes.
LaRue.
Yes.
Sutherland.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Natola.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
7-0.
I would further like to make a motion to rescind the approval of a definitive subdivision of land entitled Definitive Subdivision Plan 2, Lot Residential Subdivision for Peach Lane, dated March 30th, 2012, the conditional approval agreement, the roadway maintenance covenant, the grant of easements, and to endorse the certificate of amendment, modification, or rescission of a definitive subdivision plan approval, Form F.
Second?
Rappaport.
Yes.
LaRue.
Yes.
Sutherland.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Natola.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Item D is a public hearing, application for approval of a special permit pursuant to Section 4.9. Commercial, sorry, I like when we have that. Commercial amusement uses and activities such as, but not limited to, bowling alleys and skating rinks of the 90 Middlesex Turnpike PD zoning bylaws, 90 Middlesex Turnpike, Activate Burlington LLC is the applicant. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. For the record, Christine Hung, attorney at Reamer and Bronstein. With me tonight, I have Chase Torgerson, who is a project manager at Activate Games. Activate is looking to occupy approximately 11,500 square feet at 90 Middlesex Turnpike, owned by the Davis Companies. I was here before you at the last meeting permitting a restaurant. The Davis Companies have put a lot of thought, time, and expense in upgrading this complex to rebrand it to the Middlesex Marketplace and new signage, which you'll see shortly, soon down the road, as well as landscaping. So what Activate Games is there, so where they're looking to locate is at the former EMS building, 11,500 square feet, and their concept is a state-of-the-art, interactive team experience that challenges you mentally and physically. So it's akin to the experiential type uses that was recently approved by town meeting for the mall and other areas in town. This site is located in a planned development district, so it doesn't get the benefit of these updated type of uses. But it is, basically the concept is you sign up for a time, so you register for a time. It's not like an arcade where you go in and just spend as much time as you want there, drinking and eating. This is, you sign up for a specific time with your group, you go in, there's no food, well, there's no food served. They do have like a refrigerator for waters and maybe Gatorades, but it's not like a place where you would stay and eat. So you sign up for your time, you check in, you get a bracelet that has all of your information, and then your team moves up to the second floor where there are 12 game rooms, and then you can choose what type of challenge and game that you want to do. And so they last for about, and Chase, we have a whole presentation that Chase will go through. I'm just giving you a very high level. So it's from ages 6 and on up, birthday parties, corporate events, friend groups. So it's very successful. They are globally and nationally. Their other location in Massachusetts is in South Boston, which is doing very well. The parking is also not an issue, as I had mentioned at the restaurant at the last hearing. Parking isn't an issue in this Middlesex marketplace. There's the max that's under the PDD, and the parking is shared, but it won't be an issue at this complex either. So that's all that I have. I'll turn it over to Chase, who will run through the presentation.
Perfect. Thank you very much. My name is Chase Torgerson. I work for Activate Games as a project manager. And I'm just going to quickly run through this. I'm going to do it as quick as possible. Like was mentioned before, Activate is it's a next generation interactive gaming destination. Okay, so our whole goal is to get people into a space to be with one another, to take their phone, put it away, and compete together and just kind of have fun as a team, as coworkers, as a family. Our games are specifically built to challenge you both mentally and physically. It's not like a typical gaming facility you would think of, maybe an arcade or something like that. We are interactive. You are part of the game. You use your mind, use your body. It's about as close to a workout, but fun that you can get. So that's kind of what Activate is. Just to kind of talk through, we are family friendly, as you'll see on the slide here. We allow all ages, 6 and up is generally what we say. I've played with my 3-year-old before and they had a blast, but typically our games are built for really age 9 and above have the most fun. But really, anyone from 9 to 103 can come and play and have a great time. We try and build a positive community space. We want friends to come together. We want coworkers to come together. We want birthday parties to come and play. Our goal is just to have fun with others. We do provide, we call it a party room. It's essentially just a room where people can come in, pay for an hour, and you can do cake, you can do pizza, all that fun stuff. We have a TV there to play fun videos, etc. Just to talk a little bit about our games, we have 12 unique games. Each game has multiple different levels. Each level or game type has 10 different difficulties, if you will. And so the thing to understand here is that Activate is not a one-time experience. We believe that we are a multi-time experience where people come, experience, and want to come back. And that's kind of how we designed it. We've designed it in a way where you absolutely cannot play all the games the first time you come. It's just physically impossible. And so we want people to come back and have fun and bring their friends. And that's kind of what we want it to be. It's immersive, it's action-packed. I mean, truly, when I say you're going to come out sweating, you will. People never believe me. Every time they come and play, they come out just drenched in sweat, wearing pants. And the next time they come in sports shorts. So it's really, it's a good time, and it's really, really fun. We've got games that include like shooting basketballs. You can see up here, there's one that kind of looks like a bunch of screens, like you're going into hyperdrive where you're throwing balls at the screens as fast as you can, or there's memory games. We've got light up floors, we've got laser rooms. We've got kind of all the fun James Bond things you can think of. Just talking through kind of the process really briefly of how you get in, how you pay. Essentially, it's a standard entertainment concept, right? So you come in, pay in the lobby. You're going to get a special wristband, like was mentioned before. That's kind of your player profile. It's how you scan into all the games. It's a timed scenario, so you typically pay for about an hour of gameplay. That starts when you scan your wristband. Within that hour, you can play any of the games. So essentially, after check-in, you put your stuff away, you go up to what we call a hub. It's also kind of like a portal. Basically, it's a big lobby area where all of our game rooms, you can enter any of them. And you can play any of those game rooms at any time within that hour. Each game lasts about 5 minutes, give or take. And the idea is that you play one game, get off, go play another game, and you can just bounce around the entire hour. Once that hour is up, our goal is to basically politely escort you out so that you can go and visit other establishments, whether that's food or some other thing that you're going to do.
Shower.
Or a shower, yeah, yeah, exactly. So like was mentioned before, we have about 60 locations nationally, 85, up to 85 if you count international. We are continuing to grow about as fast as we can do it because we really believe in this product. And yeah, we are excited to be a part of the town of Burlington.
Great,
So,
thank you.
You're welcome.
So this is a new concept for the town, again, experiential. There was a restrictive covenant placed on, or a deed restriction placed on this property previously regarding interactive and games like this. So this did go to the select board. The clause said that the select board can decide whether or not something could go in there like this. And so they agreed that this would be a really cool concept. And so it passed through that hurdle, and now they are here with you guys. We did review parking as well, as Attorney Hung said, and parking is not going to be an issue at the site, especially with this type of use. I don't think that they will have as many people as you're going to pack into a restaurant, and hopefully it will be groups, and so we are not concerned with that. And with that, that is all I have, Madam Chair.
Great, thank you. Does anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns?
I do.
Okay.
Do you know there's an Activate Burlington that already exists under that name?
There is?
Yes.
Yes, we are actually in the process of trying to change our LLC name. The Commonwealth did come back and remind us of that.
Yeah, it's in Toronto or Ontario. Is an Activate Burlington in Ontario. You have not filed the LLC now. There's nothing at the Secretary of State's Corporations Division.
There is, yes. We've submitted an amendment to our name. We originally submitted.
You've reserved the name. You have not filed yet. Is that correct?
I think the name, the new name, the amended name is still waiting to be approved by the state.
Correct.
So I think they got notice when they had originally formed for Activate Burlington, they got notice back from the Secretary of State that was already used. So now they're amending their name to Have Fun Activate Burlington LLC, and just waiting for that to be finalized with the Secretary of State's office.
Okay, so that's not done yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
In process.
Given the activity, do you people have defibrillators there?
That's only for the 104-year-olds. Great.
We do not stock defibrillators standard. We do have a first aid kit.
They are right next to the
Next to the urgent.
Yeah, we are next to the urgent care, yes. That's true.
Can I suggest defibrillators, please?
Okay. Noted.
They're not expensive.
Okay.
Just create another door right next to the urgent care.
Yeah.
Even that, I
That's a
remember.
good one.
Did they have to
Like
sign
that.
waivers?
We do, yes.
Yeah. Figures.
Anyone else? Go ahead.
Yeah, just, I know you said parking's fine. You have 12 rooms. It states 2 to 5 people per room. So I assume you don't have all 12 rooms at once being used, so you don't have 12 parties of 5?
On our busiest days, we will.
Okay.
Yes.
You also have to bear in mind that there is a considerable amount of parking behind what was the former Smith and Walensky's
Yeah.
back here. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a little bit of a hike, but this Smith and Walensky's is no longer Smith and Walensky's, it's
Right.
a jeweler, right? So that they're not going to be having a,
Right, that,
I know it's a different parcel, but you know, where people are going to park where they're going to park.
well,
Let's be realistic.
yeah, that's my concern. People are going to park where they park. They don't want
Exactly.
to park as close as possible, and there's an urgent care there, so we just always want to be mindful of that in that lot. And the other is just, what are the general hours of operation, and what are the hours of use? Because it says, you average 20 to 30-year-olds. It's probably, maybe for work functions during the day, but just trying to get a sense of the usage.
Yeah, our hours vary slightly based on time of year, but generally speaking, we're open 10 a.m. to 11 p.m., and that's a little bit of a confusing statement because our last booking is at 10 p.m. or is at 11 p.m. So technically, we're open until 12, but we're not accepting anyone else past that 11 p.m.
And
That
so
makes
do you shut the doors, like, if they failed epically at their game? Are you done at 12? Does it, like, do you have a hard
Yeah.
shut off at 12?
Yeah, the wristbands automatically shut off.
That
You
that doesn't negate the fact that, like, they're still in there trying to, like, push the buttons and make things work. Like, do you say, it's 12 o'clock, it's time to go?
Yeah, yeah, the wristband won't allow them to play anymore, and so you just, it's a pretty clear exit, because normally there's only one group of 5 at that point, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bless you.
Things.
Sure.
Building off of what Jeremy mentioned about the AFC that's right nearby and parking, it might be a good idea for you to have an employee parking plan where you have your employees park out behind the Smith and Walensky building. I know there's not a ton of employees, but you can have them there and then free up spaces close by for your customers. I think that would be a good idea.
Sure, that's very reasonable.
Paul,
Go ahead.
how many employees will be on there at your busiest time?
At the busiest time, 6.
6.
6. So it's not a lot of cars, but every little bit helps.
Agreed. Anyone else from the board? This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the public that has any questions, comments, or concerns? And just checking, did Jess?
Jess,
I don't
any
want to put her on the
questions?
spot.
No questions or concerns. I mean, honestly, this feels like a no-brainer in my opinion. I mean, like you said, I think one of the biggest benefits too is drawing people there to hopefully then utilize the restaurants and areas that are either literally right next door or across the street. So I'm excited to see this.
Thank you. So this is a public hearing. Anyone in the public have any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing no
I
one?
just want to add one thing. That I know that, as Attorney Hung mentioned, that there is a different tenant at your previous meeting for 90 Middlesex where the property owner was here. We also do have another representative from the property ownership group online, just to let you know in case there's any questions for them, just that they are here again.
Thanks, Caleb, for mentioning that. I was just going to introduce Nung Lee from the Davis Company is here to support the applicant.
I appreciate that, and I think that, every time somebody comes with the owner of an applicant, it shows that the applicant, well, it shows that the ownership is actually very involved, and that doesn't always happen, so thank you. Thank you for your attendance. May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing on this matter.
Second.
Rappaport?
Yes.
LaRue?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
Natola?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
7-0.
Before I make the next motion, should I be using a different name than Activate Burlington? What name do you want me to use?
Yeah, if you could use Sounds Fun, Activate Burlington.
Sounds fun. Okay.
So hold on one second. So staff, if they change the name to Sounds Fun to something else, is that something that I can just do like an insignificant change kind of thing? Or how does that work?
we can,
We can condition that. We
we
can
can-
work with we can,
before we file the special permit, we can ensure that,
Yeah, that the name
I just
is,
don't want them to have to come back.
yeah, I don't want them, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, you're welcome to come.
You're always,
Thank you.
You can do something outside here.
Yeah.
We don't need you to come back for anything.
yeah, we'll double check before we file the special permit. We'll work with Attorney Hung to ensure that everything is.
As conditioned?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you want me to go with Sounds Fun, Activate Burlington LLC?
For this
All
time,
right.
yes.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the request of Sounds Fun Activate Burlington LLC for approval of a special permit pursuant to Section 4.9, commercial amusement uses and activities such as, but not limited to, bowling alleys and skiing rinks of the 90 Middlesex Turnpike Plan Development District zoning provisions for property at 90 Middlesex Turnpike, subject to the terms and conditions contained in Exhibit B attached.
As amended.
As amended.
As amended.
Thank you.
Second.
Rappaport.
Yes.
LaRue.
Yes.
Sutherland.
yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Natola.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
7-0.
Thank you very much.
To open.
Thank you. We hope to open realistically probably the first of the new year.
Okay, great. Welcome.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caleb and Liz, for your guidance and support always.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to take items 7E, 7F, and 7G together for discussion purposes.
Second.
Rappaport.
Yes.
LaRue.
Yes?
Sutherland.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Natola.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
7-0.
Item E is a continued public hearing, application for approval of a site plan, 129-131 Middlesex Turnpike, NWP Building 34, LLC, and Building 35, LLC is the applicant. Item F is a continued public hearing, application for approval of a special permit pursuant to Section 4.3.1.8, swimming pool of the zoning bylaws, 129-131 Middlesex Turnpike, NWP Building 34, LLC, and NWP 35, LLC is the applicant. Item G is a continued public hearing, application for approval of a special permit pursuant to Section 4.3.1.19, residential garage for more than 3 automobiles of the zoning bylaws, 129-131 Middlesex Turnpike, NWP Building 34 LLC, and NWP Building 35 LLC is the applicant. Good evening.
Good evening. Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, members of the board, for the record, Robert Buckley, Raymond Broadstein. To my left, I have Todd Fremont Smith from the Nordblum Companies. We've been working diligently with staff and others in the community on this project for quite some time. We thought we'd give you a quick update where we are for a couple reasons. One is that we want to show that we're addressing the issues, but two, as you probably are aware, in the last week, or this week as a matter of fact, the town filed a MassWorks grant that is premised on this project, and thank you to the staff for working very diligently to get that done, which would provide a lot of funding that would be seed money to accomplish a lot of the stuff that was talked about earlier, because it is a long process. But in case you haven't seen in the media that Burlington filed, I think every community, and some that we don't even know, have probably filed, because many communities are running into financial difficulties. And what we're trying to do is move this along so that Burlington, with its aggressive fulfillment of public policy, deserves good consideration, not special, but good consideration, because they're producing it rather than just talking about it. So with that, I know it's late.
We'll go quickly. Again, this is the 188-unit residential project across from Bancroft, across from 3rd Avenue, as the board knows. So we just took notes, as we always do, and we've been working with staff over what we have heard from the board. So I'm going to cover 9 things very quickly. Nothing that's going to surprise you, but these are responses essentially to your comments and questions. So as Bob said, we did file the MassWorks. It was actually a Housing Works grant. It's under the same program as MassWorks. Came out to about $3.1 million, which is a lot of money, but we're told by our consultant that that's given the fact that Burlington is building or permitting housing under MBTA communities, it's going to be viewed favorably at the state level. So we'll track that all summer, and then that award, if we get the award, comes in the fall of this year. So it comes relatively quickly. And as Bob said, thanks to the Planning Department, Engineering Department, Economic Development, and the STAC Committee, the Traffic Committee we've been meeting with to lay out, particularly engineering and planning, to figure out where that money should be spent to improve the traffic and the pedestrian connections around the site. Concom, the board asked where we were, so we just recently filed for notice of intent and a stormwater permit, and our first hearing is June 11th. The board asked about ADA, and actually the staff was asking why are some of the ADA parking spaces so far away from the elevator core, and where are the EV spaces, the electric vehicle charging stations. So on the lower level of the garage, you can see we moved the 2 handicap spaces from the outside wall right to the core. And on the upper level, we moved 4 spaces from closer to the core, closer to the elevator. So if you're in need of using a handicap space, you can get very quickly to the elevator. That was a good catch. And then on the electric spaces that the development agreement says that we need 20 electric charging stations in this building on day one. We're planning for more. I personally think electric cars are still coming. I think they're pretty cool. So we've got a bunch in the garage. You can see the little top plan, top left. You can see the EVs called out. And then there are some outside the building as well. And these are all right near the electrical room and near the transformer, so that makes it easy for us to wire. Transformer screening and electrical meter locations was a question from the board. I did confirm that all electric meters are inside the building, and as the board knows, this building there'll be no bank of gas meters because all the individual units are all electric under the building code currently. And so and then the transformer locations, as we showed you last time, the arrow is showing you the plan top left on the Great Meadow side. This is where the transformers go. We will work with the staff to screen them as much as possible. There are regulations about putting bushes right in front of them. I do think we can beef up the landscaping on the Great Meadow Road edge to block the view of the transformers and even the building itself. A public path, the pathway that goes from 3rd Avenue down to Great Meadow Road, we've hired Copley Wolf Landscape Architects to do this entire site. Copley Wolf is a full-service architectural design firm in Boston. They do a lot of wonderful work, so there's real attention, not to say that VHB can't do landscape architecture, they can, but there's another level of landscape architecture here, and this park will be elegant, to say the least. And so the attention to the materials and the finishes and the lighting and the benches and the dog park that will be public, that's on the way down this pathway. You see a little dog park where it says A. This will be a very pleasant experience walking down from Northwest Park down to Tate. I was at Tate today again. It's such a great place. And there's other great food down there. So we are paying attention to the details, and they're just calling out. We've cataloged. They're calling out some of the birds and the butterflies and the bees that will be. Well, they design the landscaping to attract, to support nature and to
I saw the
attract.
in my yard last week, so I believe you.
We've cataloged every significant tree on the site. We know where every tree is. We'll be protecting the ones in green are to be protected. Some will come down. I think the development agreement that we signed with the town says that for every significant tree, and I think it's 3-inch tree that we take down, we have to put 2 3-inch trees or larger back. So there's an algebraic formula that says that he's saying 18 trees will be preserved. I'll double check the removals and proposed, and we'll do that with the staff, but we'll follow the development agreement. There was some concern from the board about facade lighting on the Great Meadow side of the building. In other words, the side facing 3rd Avenue can be jazzy, but the side facing the marsh really wants to be subdued, and in fact, it will be subdued. We won't put any cornice lighting on that side of the building, and I was reminded that the way we install building lighting is with dimmers, and so we engineer the lighting. We're using I think it's Lamb out of Boston, a lighting engineering company, but the levels of light can be adjusted. So even on 4th Avenue at Lifetime Living, those lighting levels could be adjusted if we as a community decide that it's inappropriate. We did not do that on the first building, the Tremont. It was like, I went out there one day and it was like a aircraft landing lights. We had to go back and rewire the whole thing. So we learned our lesson, but we hear the board that the building facing the marsh really need not be lit up in a great way, in a significant way, and that's just a rendering of what we showed you last time. Middlesex Turnpike rendering, the board asked what is the impact of removing this sidewalk along Middlesex Turnpike? And so they very quickly just turned that green. It does tell you the intent. I think what the board was asking for an actual update of the fancy rendering. If that's the case, we can do that. But I think Copley Wolf is doing all the landscaping along the front of the building, so it's all going to be beautiful and as indicated in the original rendering. But we do like taking out that sidewalk. Peer review. I met earlier this week with the staff to review the scope of the traffic study peer review that the board wanted, and we're in agreement on that now, and I think these guys are going to get that out on the street. We would ask that we go quickly with that if we can, just because it's one of the only outstanding issues that, and it informs, I think, the work that we're planning to do with the state if we get the state grant. So that's happening. And then the staff also reminded us we need to apply for a swimming pool permit and structured parking permits, which we will do. And that's it.
Could I make one editorial comment?
Sure.
Based upon what was said in the beginning this evening in terms of the envisioning of the future.
Pull the microphone a little closer.
Oh, I'm sorry. The presentation on the corridor that VHB made earlier, I would say that this touches the bases in terms of the policy objective, which is to get people into an environment along Middlesex Turnpike to pedestrian and other means of pedestrian mobility. And it also provides a nice world-class park, but it also, I forget which board member made the comment earlier, it gets people away from the street in order to do that pedestrian walkway. So they're not tangent the whole distance. And finally, the third aspect, which is it's a long-term project, we've agreed to do the plans for if it ever comes to reality. There's the design plans that went in as part of the MassWorks grant provides the state with an idea of what the future may hold for if others along the corridor participate, how it all ties together. So we think that from a policy objective standpoint, we've touched all the bases, or tried to.
Great. Thank you. Staff, we have a lot of grants kind of ongoing. Can we kind of keep a tally on that and see what is remaining? So, we're working on this project, we're talking about future, how long does that grant last? I mean, is there an expiration date to it? If, the grant is, if we're using 2 million now, do we still have 1.1 in the kitty later? And how can we utilize that?
Madam Chair, if you don't mind, I can comment on that. The grants are very competitive. They open up annually, and you have, if it is awarded, I believe you have 2 years to execute and complete, or on the grant to start using.
You have to start within the first year. You have to start in year one, and then you have up to 3 years for MassWorks.
Right, and from a development standpoint, why we've been working heavily with staff, it might seem like 2 years is a long time. As you know, it's not a long time. So if we don't get this through in the next couple months, we lose the construction season.
Of course, but I mean, the construction season is obviously something that is in your forefront mind. I'm thinking about it as if they're using 2 million and we have another neighbor that could potentially use that money, is that something that we can use, and how can we apply it to make sure that we don't lose it if we're spending?
You cannot divert the money, but you can obviously, if the project were to stop, if it was was terminated for whatever reason, the money goes back to the state.
Understood.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying about terminating the product, or this project
Right.
as a whole. I think, collectively, we've got a grant coming over here, we have a grant over here, and I think that
Coordination.
we have a lot of folks, we all pay attention to the numbers, some
Yes.
a little bit more than others. So,
Who would that be?
I don't know, I'm not talking about anyone specific here, but we all do. We're all looking at, and, we're all looking to, improve the community. So if, again, staff, if you can kind of pay attention to those things,
Absolutely,
I would appreciate
100%.
that. I appreciate the update, thank you. I don't have any questions, comments, or concerns for myself, but is there anyone on the board that does?
Tiny little
Take your tiny little thing, and then we'll go to his
jazzy
baby
lights.
meeting.
You're scaring me with the jazzy lights.
Okay.
They can't have color, they can't be changed.
No,
They
No,
really
no, no,
shouldn't
no.
be too bright.
It's very subtle and very,
Very subtle.
No
I
blinking?
just had to make that clear, because,
okay, okay.
jazz,
I'll be careful with my words.
thank you.
try to
That's
be.
all,
Try
that's
to
all.
be.
Nothing too
Todd
jazzy.
Fremont Smith's getting a thesaurus for
That's it.
Christmas. All right, moving on.
Thank you on the lights facing Great Meadow and having dimming capability. I know we generally don't like colored lights, but, looking into things, ambers and reds and things can still
Yeah.
allow people to see, but are less impactful on
Yeah.
Yeah, no rainbow.
Animals,
you know,
right,
Something amber to be less bright.
Next time you're out at night, look at the Lifetime Living building. It was
Okay.
done pretty well, and the Kelvin, the frequency of the light is, these guys are all over that stuff. It's not just, we have experts designing this.
Right, just want to take into account that.
And it is dimmable, so if it's objectionable to the board, after it goes up, we can control it.
That was all, thank you.
Yep.
Liz, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Not at this juncture.
Caleb?
I do have a couple things. And I know we don't have the full site plan up, but I just want to confirm, has a snow storage plan been submitted as part of the?
I'll make sure it is.
I think
just
it
wanna-
has. I
just-
believe-
Yeah, we talked about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then one of the other items, is there going to be water to that dog park?
So again, some of these things we could probably work out with the staff, but we tried that in the past. There's been some resistance by other boards because the water's not of a high enough quality. So let's work it out. I'd love to see water in the dog park. It'd be cute. Dogs like water.
Which makes me, is Nordblom then going to be responsible for maintaining both the linear walk and the dog park?
Yes.
In perpetuity?
Yes.
Do you have on-site management for that?
We have full on-site management.
24/7?
Well, I don't know if they're there 24/7. We self-manage our buildings, so they're all Nordblom employees.
Sure, I just didn't know if it was because it was residential, if you had an on-site property manager who resided at the property.
Sounds like, do they have a spare apartment for?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll answer that question to the staff. I'll get back to staff on that. I don't believe we have live-in management.
thank you. Member Kelly?
Yeah, this is going up 6 floors.
It's going up to, let me just answer your question, hold on.
The two underground, it's 5 and 2, right?
5 from Middlesex Turnpike.
Yeah.
Additional 2 for the garage.
Because of the grade.
Correct. So on Middlesex Turnpike, it's
He's very good with numbers.
5 stories.
I noticed the plans are bringing water in from both Middlesex Turnpike and Great Meadow.
Yeah, I'm unaware of why that
Are
would
you
be.
relying on town water pressure to get water up to the 6th floor?
I believe so.
Or are you using pumps?
Well, we have to do, typically we do pressure tests at a hydrant, and then if we need to have backup pumps, we have backup pumps. That typically comes in more for, on a building of this size, for fire pumps.
Yeah, I think that was discussed at one of the earlier, yeah.
part of
Not
where I'm
this
going,
meeting, but with the fire department, I think that was discussed.
Yeah, the sprinklers, so I don't know if you have pumps to deal
I'll
with
answer,
sprinklers.
I was a poli-sci major. I'll answer that question to the staff this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I worry about fire because the way these buildings are built now, they're built with
They've done all.
wood.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm moving out of that apartment then.
Yeah.
Jess?
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah. It's just the way they go together. Every project of this scale, we'll sit down with the fire department, make sure they're happy with all the standpipe locations, the fire sprinkler systems, the fire control room, all those details will be worked out with the fire department. And with the building
20
codes.
years ago, that was not code, it's code now.
Yeah.
If you could unmute, Jess, please.
Yep.
Thank you.
I mean, first of all, it's very impressive how fast you go through presentations, Todd. I mean, I personally love the use of the word jazzy, but I completely understand the board's concern with jazzy. One of my questions from the last one as it pertained to the EV spots was just kind of seeing how historically when there's flooding and EV vehicles literally catch on fire, or I guess particularly Teslas. I know you had mentioned that you did talk to before the fire department about those. I just didn't know if there's also I mean, I'm not an electrical person, but I don't know if it's like a breaker or something. Like, is there a plan in place that, like, if there was, you know, 100-year flood or whatever, that the charging or the EV elements could be shut off pretty quickly as to hopefully not light the building on fire?
I'll look into that, Jess, and get back to the staff. I assume there are
Great, thank you.
breakers and circuit breakers and GFIs, but I don't know the answer to your question.
Wouldn't have to.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I have a question. Is there an emergency generator being proposed?
So there will be an emergency generator. It'll be natural gas powered. It'll be on the roof.
Oh.
Yeah, that's where we put them.
And just to follow up to what Jess said, I think it was a great point.
And just to follow up on that, pardon me, that's only, it just powers emergency lights in the elevator. Yep, sorry.
So for fire suppression on electrical vehicles, just want to understand, is that going to be a separate system? I know generally you could have like ESFR, which is more water-based, and Ansel systems, which are more chemical-based to deal with a fire like the battery. So just an understanding of how that's being approached with your separate systems.
Right.
Again, and we do want to meet with the fire department and make sure that everything's being designed the right way. We have about $1 million of drawings we need to release. I can't do that until I get through.
And that was my comment on the
this
construction
board.
season.
And then we're hoping to do those drawings with and then start the demolition, let's say in February, and then start the project next spring. So we're relocating tenants already into Northwest Park. So this is our big project for 2027, hopefully.
Great. Anyone else? Is there anyone in the public that has any questions, comments, or concerns? We have a motion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to continue these hearings to the planning board meeting of June 18th, 2026.
Second.
LaRue?
Yes?
Rappaport?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
Natola?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
7-0.
June 18th, thank you.
Madam Chair, may I make a comment that's unrelated to this?
Sure.
I'm on the subcommittee on the Public Arts Committee, as we're dealing with the planning board, so I would invite everyone and hope everyone shows up at the fundraiser, because it's a lot of people, including your clerk and including your vice chair. But Jen Jelinas does a lot for it, and
That's Sunday, right?
That's Sunday.
5 to 8 p.m. Live music, lots of fun. And awesome raffle for the best Patriots tickets you could ask for with VIP parking.
I love it. All right, well, have a good evening, gentlemen.
thank you.
Who's holding those tickets? 'Cause we're closing.
You need
I'll
tickets,
never
we just-
tell.
Do we need a ticket or just show up?
You just show up. I would recommend a reservation.
A reservation, you can't just go in?
Well, you can just go in, but I don't know, I mean, what if it's mobbed and you can't get a table? And you'd have to sit at the bar.
I'll call Brenda and
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, folks.
Bye. Thank you.
All right, we don't have any minutes. We can move on to discussion purposes or discussion matters.
Sure. So we, as you all know, we have been, in discussions with Eversource. They are proposing a new substation because our substation is tiny and, there's capacity issues. And so they are going to be coming to our board meeting on the 18th to give an update of what they're proposing to do. On June 17th, I will be attending a workshop on permitting. The state has new permitting guidelines for energy projects like this. So I'm going to be, I've already done, my own research, but the organization that is proposing the legislation is going to come and give a presentation, so I'm going to learn more about that. And then, Barbara, did you want to talk about the next item?
Well, I am going to be coming before the board on the 18th to talk about the Public Arts Committee's fundies request, but I'm not exactly sure what we're going to be asking for because we're in discussions with town administration, so I can't really comment on it now, but I will have a presentation for you on the 18th.
You know that's going to be a limited amount of time, correct?
I told you, I've told you.
2 minutes?
I've already pared it down to 45 minutes without questions and answers, so I'm sure that'll be fine.
May I have a motion to vote Vice Chair LaRue off the board?
You want to do subcommittees?
Yes,
We
that's
do.
next.
We do want to do subcommittees. I just want to make sure that there's just one quick note, because folks in the neighborhood haven't been notified about the Eversource presentation, correct?
I will double check about that.
All right. Well,
Double check.
If you could double check on that, and then also, even if they have been, I think it's crucial for, members of the community to be very well aware of that. I'd like that posted on our planning board page. I'd also like whatever we're posting on the planning board page, either send it to Barbara or myself or another member of the board, so we can put it on the residence page. I'm not trying to put people in an uproar by any means, but
No,
because there's no huge cause for concern in that respect, but I think
Better we hear from them before than after.
Exactly. Folks appreciate things more in the forefront than.
100%.
So let's move on to subcommittees. As a reminder, each assignment will require a motion for appointment. There are 6 committee assignments before us tonight. There'll be many additional opportunities throughout the year for members to serve on committees and subcommittees. For example, members Sutherland and Kelly continue to serve on the Government Review Committee. In recent years, the board has also appointed members to project-specific committees related to, the police station, Fox Hill High School. We're talking about telecom stuff in the future. Then we also have signage in the future. In addition to future applications before the board, they may, those may require subcommittees as well, or ad hoc subcommittees. So the point is here, there's ample opportunities for all members of the board to remain actively engaged. And just because somebody is appointed for one of these committees as the liaison, that doesn't necessarily mean that nobody else can attend and, that their feedback isn't well-received or warranted. So that being said, we can start with the Land Use Committee. Currently, right now, Member Harrington is on the board. It's the third Monday of each month at 7 p.m. Member Harrington, would you like to continue?
I'm happy
Or
to.
is there something else that you have that you?
I'm happy to continue with that. If somebody else wants to step in, I'm also happy to.
Step away?
All right, well then, may I have a motion, please?
I make a motion that we appoint Member Harrington to the as the Land Use Committee liaison.
Second.
Rappaport.
Yes.
LaRue.
Yes.
Sutherland.
Yes.
She's saying yes. Ryan.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Nope. Okay. Natola. Natola.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes,
Okay, moving on to zoning bylaw review.
I will do that one. That was Joe's.
I think that's an excellent
Yeah.
idea. So may I have a motion, please?
I move that we elect Member Kelly,
Elect or appoint?
appoint Member Kelly to serve as the Zoning Bylaw Review Committee liaison.
Second.
That's me.
Rappaport. LaRue.
Yes.
Sutherland.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Natola.
Yes.
Yes.
Recreation Committee, Member Ryan, you're currently on that board. Is that something you'd like to continue, or?
Yes, specifically with this board, I don't think you can do it for 1 year because of the money involved in
Understood.
budgeting. So yes.
My numbers guy, may I have a motion?
I would like to make a motion that we appoint member Ryan to the Recreation Committee as its liaison.
I can't second.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Rappaport.
Yes.
LaRue.
Yes.
Sutherland.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Natola.
No, yeah.
Kelly.
I'm only kidding.
Kelly.
It's a
Yes.
gift.
You're buying lunch.
Yes.
That is 510.
5-1.
Moving on to Housing Partnership, Member Natola, would you like to
Yes,
remain?
I'll stay on it, yes.
May I have a
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint member Natola as the Housing Partnership Liaison.
I'll second that.
Rappaport.
Yes.
LaRue.
Yes.
Sutherland.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Natola.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Moving on to Economic Development, first Friday of each month, 9 a.m. virtual. Member Ryan, Member Harrington are currently on. Would you like to do that? Would you like somebody to relieve you?
No, I'm good with it.
I'll stay.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I would like to make a motion that we appoint members Ryan and member Harrington to the Economic Development Committee as liaisons.
Second?
Second.
Rappaport.
Yes.
LaRue.
Yes.
Sutherland.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Natola.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
All right, Public Arts Committee, I think that we should remove Member LaRue
Before the presentation.
before her 45-minute presentation. May I have a motion, please?
To remove her, sure.
I know,
Yeah, none of you want to do it, though.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Member LaRue to the Public Arts Committee.
Point.
Appoint and second.
That too.
Point and second.
To
Yes.
appoint, approve,
Rappaport.
Yes.
LaRue.
Yes.
Sutherland.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Natola.
yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Okay, so there's two things that aren't on here. Telecom is one thing that we need to work on, we've already discussed. That is something that I'd like to spearhead as well. If anyone has any objections, please by all means let me know, or you want to join me, by all means let me know. It's not as fun as it sounds, but I enjoy it.
I would like to make a motion that we appoint Chair Rappaport to the
I think it's, what are we going to call it, Telecom Committee?
Telecom and Wireless Subcommittee.
Subcommittee, yes, we'll go
Sure.
with that one.
Is there anything going on with that now?
What's that?
Is there anything happening with that right now?
We're working on that to get a consultant
Need a
because we
second.
need to update our.
Yeah.
I'll second it, but I'd like to also be on that.
By all means.
I
More the
will
merrier.
amend my motion.
Okay, then I'll second it, so.
I'll amend my motion to include member Ryan on this committee.
Okay.
And
Rappaport.
Yes.
LaRue.
Yes.
Sutherland.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Natola.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Okay, so two more things.
So when that group meets, we'd let everyone know because
Yeah, we'll let
I
them
might
know.
like to join
Well, I think
in
that there's
that.
going to be a lot of folks within the community that are going to want to join
Yeah.
that. So when we get to that point, I just know that that is coming up.
Yeah.
We are at some point going to need to update our master plan. And so can you put that on the docket? Because, I mean, when I first became chair back in 2020, 21, somewhere thereabouts, 21, we had just completed that master plan. So now we're due, at least to start and amend accordingly. And there's a bit to amend.
We have to put consultant money on the budget though, don't we?
So it is actually part of it's actually a capital improvement item on the capital improvement plan for the town. So it's a capital.
We could choose a consultant this year with this.
It wouldn't be, it's not up this year. It's in, I have to double check. I think it's within the next 2 years, we will be getting funding for updates. So that, thank you for the reminder.
You're welcome.
Yes.
And then lastly, it is June 4th of 2026, and I would be remiss if we didn't have a motion to change our attire for the summer months because Mr. Covino is not present. So in honor of Mr. Covino, would somebody please make a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
What do you mean?
I have a second. So we don't have to wear a jacket. He doesn't have to wear a
More
tie.
casual.
Summer casual attire.
Yes, they missed you at those few meetings.
That used to be a regular thing.
I know,
Used to,
I know.
But, you know.
So we make it tuxedos and long dresses? Is that what we, is that what we change it to?
Or summer casual.
Summer
It's been
casual.
moved and seconded.
Rappaport.
Yes.
I suggest that goes into
Ryan.
Columbus Day, October 12th.
Sure.
Okay.
Ryan.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Natola.
Yes.
Sutherland.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so next meeting, it's my understanding it's going to be pretty lengthy, so brace yourselves, bring your water and a snack if you need it.
This one wasn't too short.
You know what, for the amount of content that we got,
got a lot done.
we got a lot done.
We did.
No,
Not
saying the next-
everything can be
saying
short
the
and
next meeting's
sweet.
going to be very long?
Yes.
Yes.
Why is that?
We have a number of applications.
I can remember being at a meeting that went till 2 o'clock in the morning.
What's on the website?
Wait a minute, I read
Same.
Motion to go back to 11.
Beyond the rules,
I remember that.
including
All right.
Okay.
Motion
May I
to
have a-
adjourn.
continued.
May I have a second?
What's that?
Second to adjourn.
Rappaport.
I'm still here, you know.
Sutherland, yes.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
yes.
Okay, good. LaRue?
Yes.
Ryan?
What am I?
You're to
We're
address.
adjourning.
Yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
Natola? Natola?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
7-0. Have a good night, everyone. We have
Good
many
evening,
things for
folks.
you. No.